YouTube, things like that. So really excited that you are here today, that we are here today with Daeyoung Kim from South Korea. And it is for us, it's a different moment that we do this session, but especially for someone coming from Korea, and we know we can wake up Daeyoung in the middle of the night. It wouldn't be a problem, but this is more also a time that the people from South Korea could listen in and join us. So welcome to this special online conversation hosted by Move Into the Future and the Wize Move Society, the online community for the 50 plus generation. The Wize generation is growing rapidly, and we are living longer, are longer, healthy and active, and are better educated than ever. There are many reasons why this generation should play a significant role in the economy and in society a lot longer than what they expected than when they started their career. So we believe that the over 50 generation has a significant role to play in the creation of the future. We just need to tap into their knowledge, experience, and wisdom. And with these Tuesday live conversations, we aim to give you a glimpse of what is going on the Wize Move Society, to share a bit about both the challenges and the opportunities of this generation, and as well as how the members of the Wize Move Society work together to create solutions and play an active role in society and in the economy. The Wize generation is very clear that we are not on our way out, but that we are part of the future. So for those who join us on Zoom, we love you to contribute in the conversation. So show your camera and show yourself on camera, and just let us know that you want to comment or have a question. And if you join us on Facebook, welcome everyone. Please share your feedback and questions in the comments. So my name is Ingun, and I'm the founder of Move Into the Future and the creator of the Wize Move Society. I'm here today with my co-host Tebello Mokhema from South Africa and our guest Daeyoung Kim from South Korea. So after a career of about 20 years at the US Embassy in Korea, Daeyoung decided to make a complete career shift and became a social change maker in Korean society. She's a certified transformation coach, an emotional intelligence practitioner, and founder of IMI and Female Wave of Change Ambassador in Korea. Also very important. We'd love to hear your story and of course dive into the topic to be a 50 plus, to be part of that 50 plus generation in the Korean society. So before we dive into that topic, I would like to give my co-host Tebello the floor so she can share a bit more about her background, and she will pass it on to Daeyoung. Tebello.
Great. Thank you, Ingun, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm excited to be joining this conversation today. As I'm sitting here, I'm thinking technology is just awesome. I mean, here we are, Netherlands, South Africa, and South Korea, all in one session. So as Ingun has indicated, I'm the co-host with her today. I am based in Pretoria, South Africa. I am a women empowerment, specialist. I'm a moderator of programs, and when it comes specifically to the Wize Move Society, I am working with Ingun as a project manager on this platform and in this community. And it's really been an awesome time to be involved with the Wize Move Society, because certainly the people that we have met and we've engaged with up to this point have clearly shown that the 50 plus, community in the world is not going anywhere. In fact, they're getting a lot more energized and a lot more connected across the world. And Daeyoung, welcome. to our session today, and looking forward to hearing from you and, with you sharing with us what's happening to this community in South Korea, and also what's happening in your life with, the recent changes that you've made. So let me hand over to you so we hear about who Daeyoung is.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you very much for inviting me for this special occasion, Ingun. And thank you so much for your warm welcoming, Tebello. I am Daeyoung Kim from South Korea, and I would like to call myself an innovator because when I am an innovator, I can be a hub of innovators. So I would like to call myself an innovator. What kind of innovation I want to lead and design in Korea and throughout the world. I would like to help people to unlock their potential, their gift, their genius, John. That's what I would like to do. I used to work as a public diplomacy specialist at the US Embassy, Seoul, for 20 years. I loved my job. I loved every day what I did at the embassy, because I was a bridge between US opinion leaders and Korean opinion leaders. And together, we were working on to build a better society and bilateral relationship. I loved it. But at the age of 49, I came to hear my inner voice. Ooh, I could not resist. I tried to stop it, but I couldn't. And it was really difficult because I loved my colleagues and I loved my contacts and I loved everything. But what's wrong with myself? I wanted to do more, and I wanted to explore the world, and I wanted to give myself an opportunity. So without planning, I took a career change and I called it a bungee jump. So it was on October 26, 2018. So I am celebrating my third anniversary of retirement from the embassy this week. And now what I do is providing platforms for Korean opinion leaders and international opinion leaders to meet and exchange ideas and plans for the future. The future, what I call it, is an inclusive society for all. And that society can be built when we live what we want to live. So that's what I do. And I am very excited to explore what I am envisioning and what you are envisioning in Wize Move. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, Daeyoung, and welcome to Patty from the United States, who is zooming in. Welcome for you. Daeyoung, you talk about it. Yes, of course, it's a big career change, going from this whole diplomatic area, building bridges into, I just wanted a career change and I did it. How this is, because this is what I would love to hear. If someone does that here in the Netherlands, or people will always tell you, don't do this, you have a good job, and make sure that you keep your job, and that's secure, and what are you going to do, and this is not going to work. And you always have these dream stealers, probably people who would never make a change themselves. But they're there. I would love to hear that difference in that cultural perspective. If you in Korea, you are almost 50 and you feel like, let's make a change. What was the response?
I am very direct and honest and transparent. I'd like to be. People called me crazy. You must be crazy. Yeah, no kidding. No. Did you turn in your resignation? No. Withdraw it. What's wrong with you? What's wrong? Yeah. And I think there was not a single person who said like congratulations, even though it required a lot of courage. So it was very, very difficult. It was very, very difficult, more than I imagined. And the reality made me think they might have been right. I might be crazy, but I learned, I learned, I don't think so. And I really wanted to be an example. I studied very well in Korean society, and I accomplished really great career, and I'm not a bad person. Then if I could not take a career change with this awesome backgrounds, then who could do it? And if we cannot do it now, then in the future, how? So I really, really wanted to become an example. She made it, then I can make it. And I want to be that person. And I tried to share where I stand every time. So I shared my struggle, I shared my frustration, and I shared my depression, everything, everything. So now I can tell everybody, please give an opportunity to yourself. That's the first step.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. And I love that. That's absolutely fantastic. I really want to dive with you into that Korean society, because I do believe there is difference. If you look at the way the whole economy and the whole maybe the job market, the labor market, how is that organized still? If you look internationally, we are talking more and more about a multi-stage life, because people will have to work longer. How is that? Is that whole reality? Is that working in Korea? Is that one career? You go to work for someone and you stay there until you retire. What is the way that this works in your society?
I would say we are in a transition period now in Korea. So we made huge progress in many fields, but in some ways we are still in the past. And this job market for seniors, current seniors, like 50 plus, is one of the the generation in transition. And what we choose, how we choose, will make huge impact. And yeah, and in that perspective, for this interview, I contacted several people who, who accomplished really big social impact in their previous careers. And now what do you do, and how are you preparing for the next step? And how about your colleagues, former colleagues, or how about your seniors, how about your juniors, and why did you do what you did? All those questions. And for a very limited occupations, like writers or lawyers, those people might have longer career in what they have done throughout their life. But I'm not sure whether that is their dream job or not. I think that's a really crucial question. Do you really like it in your next life? Do you still want to do that job or not? But then, not now, then when? That's my question.
Yeah.
And number two, people in Korea, legal retirement age is, it depends, but like, 60s or 65 or, 55 or even 40s, very diverse. Not legal, but, in their community, in their backgrounds. Here, gender difference. So for males, they have stronger professional networking. So in many cases, in Korean society, juniors help seniors to remain in job markets or work fields. So they help each other. For women, no, very rarely.
Mm-hmm.
And if they stay, if they want to continue their career, maybe in the same field, even though they want to do something else, because doing something else is very rare here in Korea. And that's what I'd like to provide in Korean society. So what do you really want to do? What is it? Yeah, it's very difficult. It's very difficult.
Yeah. Interesting, Daeyoung, you say that because I have a slightly different perspective of the Korean society because of the technology or advancements that one has seen in technology. I recall 2013, I visited, on a conference, and I saw this huge presence of technology organizations in, I was in Seoul, and I was really, really amazed at what is happening. And secondly, as you know, I'm in the crypto space. And one of the countries that's really making lots of noise in crypto is your country, South Korea. So I'm finding it quite interesting, the older kind of system and generation that's there, but there's also this community that's bubbling, right? That's saying technology, advancement, change, transformation. We want to see it happening. And I'd like to hear, because you mentioned that you've created a platform, to be able to connect people. So taking, that background, how are you seeing people, responding to the platform that you've created and the connection, across the world and within the country?
Yeah. Very insightful question. Thank you, Tebello. We Koreans are great in technology and and advancement. Yeah, that's our one of our heritage and characteristics. That's true. About platform, I'd like to mention two things as our backgrounds for your understanding. First one is vulnerability. So even though we have some platforms, I would say we are very cautious joining the platform, and we often say that we need a more safe space where we can expose ourselves as we are. So because of, I would say, lack of or, less vulnerable vulnerability, we are hesitant to explore platforms. So that's why I'd like to provide more and more. And number two, emotional intelligence. Recently, the organization which I belong to, 6 Seconds, released a most extensive report about worldwide emotional intelligence. according to that data, there are strong variations among countries, among continents. And I was very sad to see the big gap between European countries and North American countries and Asian countries. Because in Asian countries, we are not good at expressing our emotion because we are educated socially to be polite or to, how can I say, to not to, expose ourselves too much. So because of those tendencies, we are more reserved people. So I'd like to provide more platforms, safe spaces where they can make mistakes and where they can giggle and they can, just enjoy, not thinking about something else. Yeah, then I think that they can discover their themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I really like that explanation. What you're giving, it is on one hand, it is what's the subject what Tebello introduced. It is tradition versus technology, and that tradition is so embedded in your culture.
Yes.
And also that way, and that is also, I know that you're very much involved in that emotional intelligence. It is about, yes, not being vulnerable is mostly the choice, and not out of fear, because I think that is here in Europe and in the United States. People don't want to be vulnerable because they feel that is weakness. And I don't think it is felt as weakness, but it is felt as you just don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not part of your culture. It is not part of your tradition. You hold your emotions close to who you are. You're not supposed to do that.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah. And if you look at that 50 plus, the older generation and the real seniors in your in the culture, here it's, and that is something, I also compare a lot with the other continents and countries that we're working in. I think here in the Netherlands, we do take care, we think we take care of our real older generation, because we think we need to. There is not so much what I believe the real respective way in what I see, for instance, in the African countries, is the older generation. They are the elders. They are the ones with the wisdom. They are the ones with the stories. You have to take care of them. How about in Korea?
Real seniors in their 70s, 80s, 90s, I think, from governments, what our government does, I think they are doing a very good job. They are providing more subsidies, more support, more safety nets for seniors, real seniors. On the other hand, like socially and culturally, how much we are engaging them into social dialogue, I'm doubtful. Because unfortunately, suicide rate among seniors, really seniors, is very high. And they are the generation who supported their parents and they were educated that they can expect, return. They will get that respect and support from families. But in modernized Korean society, it's not common. So, nuclear families or those things. So they cannot expect what they provided for their seniors. So there is like a big gap, like a perception gap. So even though Korean government provides very good support, emotionally and socially, I think we can do more. We can do more. Yeah. And in Korea, we are more hierarchical society and patriarchal society. So I should admit that there is serious intergenerational conflict, and we don't know how to communicate in a peaceful way and in a more democratic way. So it's tough. It's tough. And we have certain, naming culture. So we put some names, disgraceful names for that generation. And we have some tendency, like, keeping distance from them or from us, from, younger generation. So yeah, that's another challenge that we would like to find solutions.
I think it's very important that the different generation really start working together, especially also because what you see worldwide, of course, is that this group of the older generation is growing so fast, the baby boomers, and that is growing so fast that, you cannot let them go and do nothing. They really need to be involved in community, in society, in the economy. So it's essential that we really do start working together to really work on the current situation, but also to create the future. I would like to invite some of the others. I see Mary Jane joined us in the meantime.
Hi,
welcome. Hi. Anyone who wants to jump in and share some of your thoughts, or you have a question for Daeyoung?
I think, I've missed part of the conversation, Daeyoung, but one thing that stands out for me is when you describe the conditions, it's a strong word, but of the elderly in Korea. And also as Inga was pointing out, and I think Tebello also, that the embedding, it's so deeply embedded in the culture, right? This emotional resistance to expressing yourself emotionally, etc. You really do have your work cut out for you, to create the changes that are needed, obviously needed, because if the suicide rate in the elderly is so high, obviously many things are not right, So yeah, hats off that you really want to move in that direction and create a platform, hopefully here, where people can come and can express themselves and start to see that it's going to be a huge drempel, ladies, in Dutch of drempel, but to get over,
Yeah, it is, and I do agree that safe space needs to be even more important. Talking about this culture, I think so. Yeah. Patty, how about you? You want to jump in?
Well, first of all, I just want to say how much I honor you on all the things you're doing. I mean, I have been to Korea when I was in the military. My mom served as the she was the director of the commissary there in Korea for a few years. So I do have a lot of, I have some knowledge of Korea, and I had a great time when I was over there. And I spent a lot of time in the Asian countries, and I know what you're talking about with the honor and stuff. Like when I was over there, a lot of times I knew all of them can speak English, but they were so shy because they didn't want to say something wrong. But they ended up helping me anyway, because I'd be like, help me. So they were just so polite and so shy, but just so wonderful people. And for you to have the courage like that is just really amazing. So I really honor you on that. And things have changed just so much, even in the, it was been over 30 years since I think I've been there, and we have seen such a society, and it used to be where once you get a certain age, you're, like you said, your children just take care of you, and you just, they come every once in a while to, get some of your wisdom and stuff, but they really don't accept you as a really valuable in having ideas and things. And a lot of times we think, even here, oh, well, they're not going to know how to do the computer. They're not going to know how to do this and that. I know with my kids, okay, Mom, yeah, we'll show you how to do this, but you're not going to catch on, So I think, it is so hard, and it's a lot of times it's harder for the older generation, and they fall into that cracks. But we are so smart, and you're setting the stage, and I just have to admire you for that. And it just takes, like you said, it takes someone to step up and get out of their comfort zone and do the courage. I just heard a speaker not too long ago. She said the three things we need: compassion, wisdom, and courage. Now I put on there, I like also to be curiosity too. So I added a fourth one, but, and see, you're curious, why can't we do these things? And I think if you have those four things, you can make a difference. And you just need support, and it's going to be, and you're going to have the naysayers because they're afraid. It's not that they want to think bad of you. They're just afraid for you because it's something new. So I honor you for doing all that. I just think you're amazing.
Yeah.
Really well said, Patty. Thank you.
True. And as we know, an evolution starts with one person, right? And slowly, and the wave, as we all are in, most of us are in the female wave of change, that one drop in the water, creates a ripple, and it makes a bigger ripple, and then it eventually creates a wave. However, Daeyoung, I want to take you back to link to something that Ingun said, that yes, in the African community, there's very much a recognition of the value that the older generation can still be able to add. So I wanted to ask you, if you look at the 50 plus generation, 50, 60, 70 plus generation in your community, what are some of the fun and unique things that you think they can still add to the community? Because, yes, there might be a cultural and a historical element that makes young people say, these old people, which happens in most communities, but sometimes you engage with them and you're thinking, oh my goodness, this is amazing to learn this from them. So in terms of your community and your society, what could be some of the fun and positive things that you believe they can still add in the society? Because that is also what I believe will help, the younger generation to be able to reconnect with them when they realize, when we lose them, this is what we are losing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Tebello, what you just asked me, re-emphasized the importance of storytelling and discovering, our stories. And I tried really hard to dig out one example of fun and unique and silly things that our generation, 50 plus generation, have done. We are very serious generation and hardworking generation, and we really made a huge contribution to Korea's democratic development. In Korea, we have 386 generation. 386 generation. That means like in Korean society, in Korean history, there was a time, the period when lots of social activists did demonstration to have a more democratic government system. And our generation is the last ones of that generation. So when we did those things, we were like in our 30s and 20s, and we went to our universities. We went to our universities in 1980s, and we were born in 1960s. So we called that generation 386 generation. And now that generation are like really prominent political leaders and social leaders. That tells us that what we presented to our society is our hardworking tradition and our seriousness and our devotional culture, those things. And now my society is struggling to have work and life balance. It's so different. It's so difficult. It's very, very difficult because we have a very deeply rooted culture of working hard, working really hard. So I will think about what fun and exciting and unique stories that our generation left in our society, and I will share them with my fellow Koreans.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So you think there should be many more stories told?
Yes,
mm-hmm.
Yes, many more stories told.
Mm-hmm.
And in those stories, I would like to introduce real people, like role models who have lived very satisfying and balanced life. So in addition to their successful career, their family life, their friendship, and their fun time can be also recognized. We need to hear those stories more and more. And I'm sure there must be some people, but still in our society, if we take some rest, we feel guilty.
This is so different from if I, for instance, compare it with, well, a country on your side of the world. I know there's still some distance with Japan, and for instance, the whole idea of ikigai, the whole idea of, living that balanced life, living in the now, living your passion, finding that purpose, and really, you can work until you're 110 if you are doing the things that you just love doing, and you don't have to work hard, but as long as you really enjoy doing it. And I know also in Japan, you know, in these huge cities in Tokyo, there's a rush and people have to perform and they have to work for many hours. But that whole concept of ikigai, that is also the area where people live the longest. You know, they just keep on doing what they're doing and love doing it. Yeah. That whole concept of ikigai, is that something that you recognize, or maybe in a certain group, or
Ikigai, I learned this term last year and I loved it, and I introduced it to my friends and my colleagues, and they were fascinated, and it was new to them. So it was very interesting. You know, Japan is like our neighboring country, but I heard this term from a program which was organized by Slovakian, you know, people. So it's far, but I didn't know. So ikigai is a new term, I guess, in Korean society.
Mm-hmm. It's a very old term, but it's new in Korea.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so
I didn't know. Yeah.
Yeah, let's move a little bit into your future and what you want to do about this, because you are that social change maker. So what is it that you really want to work on? And I can imagine that you cannot change it overnight because traditions are so deeply rooted in your culture. But what is it that you feel like, so if I can work on this part or in that part, what is it that you are going to do?
Mm-hmm. I am designing platforms and I am providing platforms where wiser generation or, you know, 50 plus generation discuss current issues, global agenda with younger generation. Mm-hmm. And I love inviting people from diverse backgrounds. So for example, I'd like to invite social change makers in their 30s and 40s who have never traveled abroad and who do not speak English. And they are mostly from, from groups who do not have supportive, networking, but they are leading the trend. And I would like to invite them. And I would like to ask them, who do you want to meet? Then I'd like to invite those awesome seniors into the table. And I'd like to invite teenagers who are very creative, who are beyond our control. Then we can have, I think, really interactive dialogue. How come this one cannot be solved? How about this? What have you accomplished? And what did you, leave behind? And, for like children and younger people, they would say, what if? And I love the question, what if? Then I think there we can experience some innovative solutions. And in that platform, I love to invite global leaders like you. And how about in your society? What's going on in your society? So then in our conflicting ideas and in our curiosity, I am pretty sure we will find the solutions. That's what I am doing. And I'd like to do more. And I can see where they are, confronting some inner work. Because I experienced all those challenges and difficulties, from depression to, achievement and all those things. And I would like to be a help to them yeah, that's what I'd like to do. And for this interview, I met several people, and one of them, I was very touched, and I'd like to share it with you. She had a wonderful, successful career. She's one of the most respected persons in her fields. And in Korea last year and over the recent years, we experienced a lot of like sexual harassment and sexual scandals, all those violent issues, and it does not happen. How can I say, at a younger age? It happens in workplaces, everywhere, but we cannot express it. No. So she said, now it's time for me to talk about it. And I'd like to help, myself in the past. At that time, I could not ask for help, but now I'd like to help them. So she and I talked about shall we invite directors or leaders, those levels into this space, safe space, and they might not be able to talk about it with someone else, internally and externally, but here it's safe, so we can share what we could have done and what we have not done, and we can help them. So with this interview, thank you so much, Ingun. I think I can ignite that culture here.
Yeah, that sounds great. And I already see, the thing that I picture in my mind also about the storytelling and getting those stories out, because the stories are there. They are there, everyone in every culture, they have the stories. And I already see someone like, for instance, Mami Von from South Africa, she's an amazing story, but not just an amazing storyteller. She is one of these people that, invites you to share your story in such a way that you cannot just not share your story, So I love it when I see this picture of, the intergenerational, the multi-generations coming together, those role models. And, it is a drop in the ocean, but you have to start somewhere so that it is going to work.
Yes.
Yeah. It's not going to change overnight. And you know how this works. If you are that change maker, they will first say you're crazy. Well, you're already past that part. They will tell you you're crazy. Then they will look from a distance and think, oh gosh, there's something going on there. Then they will come closer, and you know how this works. So it will take some time also for people to really be engaged, not just watching you from the distance, but being engaged and really being part of that change. Yeah, fantastic. Mary Jane, Patty, Tebello, or maybe Daeyoung, because that is what you asked us in before the session. Am I allowed to ask questions? Yes, you are. If you have questions for us, yes, please.
Yeah. But before you ask the question, Daeyoung, I just made a comment. I remembered my trip to Seoul, and I was amazed at the number of golf shops that one town has, right? And all the top brands of golf shops. And by the way, two of the top golf players in the world come from South Korea, who happen to be sisters, right? So could golf play a role as well for you in connecting the different generations? Because it seems to be part of the South Korean culture.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
And what Tebello always mentions, I always say, you really have to start creating a workshop around golf. Yeah. If you really want to get to know someone, go and play golf with them.
Yeah. So You already have the equipment, you already have the service providers, you've got the golf courses, you've got the education. That could be a platform that helps the conversations to start.
Ooh, awesome. Yeah. Oh, wow. Tebello, you gave me goosebumps. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, I see Korea.
I can see
everyone is going to to play golf. Great.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sounds
Okay.
good.
So Mary Jane, do you have something like this for her as well, so that you know?
No, unfortunately, I don't. I don't. But I just have to say it was beautiful to watch the expression on your face. That when as Tebello was explaining her idea to you. No, but I think Tebello, I think you really struck on something that could resonate, and is in that intergenerational mix coming together in some way, shape, or form with with using a national pastime, that is as big as it sounds like it is. So, yeah, great idea.
National. Yeah.
Yeah.
Past. Yeah. Ooh, yes.
Betty, any more fresh ideas?
I just really like the idea of the communication and everything. And that's what I want to start in my group, because I think when we start communicating, and I like how you said the ones that don't speak English, because that comes to be our big problem. So what I want to start in my group here is I want to have every month someone come speaking a different language with just the basic, just the basic things like I need help or I need this or that. And we can just have little classes on that. So I'm going to ask you to come and join. So I'm putting my thing in for a female wave of change. And Tebello, I want you to, and Ingram, I'm going to have everybody different, just once a month, just have some, we're not, just so we can communicate better. If I can just know some basic words, and if I see someone on the street, I can at least say hello. I can at least say, how are you? Or just simple things. Because when you have the communications, multi-generation and multi-cultures, when you're able to speak with each other, then you're more human. And that's what brings the humanity in. Because when you're able to really have communication, then everybody is seen as a human being.
Can I add on that, Patty? One of the groups a workshop that I did it's an American company, and the team lead, I don't know how often that she does this, but because it's a global company, so based in the US, but offices around the world, someone whether it's every Monday morning with the start of the week meeting, that someone comes in and introduces a topic of the culture of where they're living. And I think that might even be more impactful. For example, if you have someone explaining about the dress code, the dress that they have, what's part of the culture, because what we lack is that unconscious bias that's so strong in us, is we automatically judge people who look differently than us. So I think if you want to get conversations started and get people feeling more comfortable, if I know why somebody's wearing a turban, what that means to him, or the Arabian garb for women, etc., then yeah, you've got I think you open up a door that might not have been there before, a door of understanding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I love that. Oh, I love that. Yes. I'm going to add that. I wrote that down too.
Thank you so much. Thank
you
so much.
Well, Daeyoung, is there anything that you want to ask us?
Yes.
Any of us?
I'd like to, yes, to you all, and especially to Ingun. And it's related with the language barriers and safe space. English education in Korea has lots of cultural and social limitation. So when people say like who can speak English and where they practice, it's all related with birth, parents' birth. And we have like I'm not enough culture, so we cannot try to speak in English. And when I introduced the female wave of change and Wize move, most of my you will love them. You will love you. They have wonderful stories in Korean, no English, but they are willing to share their stories. So I am wondering how we can have those like a non-English speaking participants or members. And when Ingun, as you mentioned, if when we have like an English and Korean speaking website and information, then it might be great. But in this transition period, how could we engage them? That's my big question. And yeah, and asking for your help.
Yes. Well, what I already told you before this session, but when we started the Wize Move Society and we're talking about a technical platform, we already wanted to be sure that we could have those different groups, the Spanish speaking, the French speaking, the Korean speaking. That for one is absolutely an option. And I think we need to talk about that. So yes, so that is, and things like this, what we're already doing with these live conversations, we can join in these live conversations that you ask them in Korean to join. And so that you start somewhere on sharing these stories, because that is, I think, would really be fantastic if we can do that. And then maybe not out in the open like we're doing now, but we also have our own safe video channel that is not broadcasted all over the world, but that is only for the members of the Wize Move Society. So let's discuss this in what do you need and where do we start, because that is, I think, very important. And the Wize Move Society is something that has been created as a safe space. We really want people to, of course, like this. Now we're doing it's live on Facebook. Everyone can join. Because we also want to change the perspective of society about the older generation, about the wise generation, as we call them. But normally, we work on the platform like what you have experienced last Sunday with the happy hour. That is absolutely something that is something that we do on the platform and talk with the members. Well, this is something that we can also invite our friends. But so we do create that safe space where people can take the first steps, and you don't have to change something. You don't have to take those huge steps. It does start with those baby steps. So let's discuss this. And of course, we love to get all these people involved, because what I just mentioned, I know the stories are there, absolutely. But we need to create that environment that people will start sharing it. And that also, is not going to be huge in the beginning, but, we have to, and there are more people, and that is what gives hope, of course. There are more people like you and me. There's more people like Tebello and Mary Jane and Patty who are those change makers and who do take the first steps. And are they all able to engage, to invite huge groups of people? No, it starts with that +1. And again, +1, and then the +1. If everyone keeps on doing +1, it gets huge. So, so it doesn't mean that we have to invite 100 people in the first day, but let's invite that first one. And yeah, Mary Jane?
If I can just quickly add in, because what's popped up in my mind is Daeyoung, check into what kind of automatic translation software is available. You know, there's a lot out there now. Otter.ai comes into my mind, but that would have to be after something is already broadcast. But if it can be done live, well, that we're engaged in a setting like this and someone is sharing a story and we've got subtitles.
Yeah.
And I bet it's there. I bet it's there.
It is. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Mary Jane.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else, ladies? Because we're, you know, it's almost on the hour. So, you know, time flies when you're having fun. It was really a fantastic conversation. Any last words, Daeyoung?
Curiosity, compassion, courage. I'd like to share them with you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us. It was really
Thank you, Daeyoung. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we're sending you positive vibes and, you know, for the work that you are doing. As we said, you started, somebody else follows, and the next thing we know, and I know the Korean community can do that. I've seen them in the crypto space. So once they catch on to what you do and believe in what you do, it's going to grow. So thank you very much for your time and sharing, you know, your information and experiences with us. And we continue to look forward to working with you in the Wize Move Society to help grow, you know, these conversations and this platform in the South Korean environment. Thanks, Daeyoung.
Mm-hmm. And of course, thank you, Tebello, for that. Not only in the South Korean environment, because, you know, the Wize Move Society is a very international platform. Mm-hmm. So if you're not yet a member, do join us and join us on these live conversations, because it is so inspiring to see what everyone is doing and how we can build on creating that future. So looking forward to see everyone on the Wize Move Society, well, soon. So thank you again, and see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.